This is Motormouth.
You're listening to the Motormouth.
Hello. You guys are the best. Man, you guys are insane, hilarious, and the best stuff I've ever seen.
That's right, Chris and Ray.
Motormouth! Did I win anything? I got through! I can't believe I got through!
Well, I'm glad you guys are around because I didn't even know you existed.
Hey, how are you, Motormouth?
This is one of those days, nothing to do, so I figure why not spend it with a couple of nobodies. Motormouth!
You also have my picture up on the webpage.
Boy, you taught me something about that car.
Why must you ask such difficult questions?
Motormouth!
I don't know too much about motors.
Do I come running to your show?
We love you guys that have these shows.
Our trained staff of 2 will help.
Is this that jerky car show that I listen to? Oh, you distributed capital, my under-port condenser.
Quite frankly, there are better things to do with your time.
Trying to dial the phone with transmission fluid all over me.
I finally got a chance to listen to you guys streaming. I'm in a good mood. I'm happy.
Yeah, I want to know what the is wrong with my car.
I haven't even called my own mechanic back, but why don't I ask you?
But you guys are pretty special guys.
Motormouth!
Must be a motorcycle thing, because I'm not familiar with that.
Yes.
Let's just think right now, Murphy's Law, what's going to go wrong? Is the board going to explode? Is the mic going to drop? Is my phone going to drop? I love live radio. I'm just having some fun with you guys.
There are answers, sometimes correct ones, and we may have them.
Motormouth Radio, 90.3 FM, WHPC.
Motormouth!
This is Motormouth Radio, your 1-hour automotive talk show. And now, here are your Motormouths, Chris Switzer and Ray Guarino.
All right, you believe everything you hear on the radio, right? Well, that's why you're listening to us. This is Motormouth Radio, your 1-hour automotive talk show right here on Long Island. I'm Chris Switzer. And, of course, sitting in for Ray Guarino behind the shop bench, you know him as the man that, of course, makes this show 521% better. Go play that number. It's a winner. Here he is, the man we call our technical advisor, who sits in the clouds and watches over us when we screw up and points our finger at us and sends a couple of lightning bolts down.
Zap.
It's Joe
That's
G.
your technician.
Obi Don Canoli himself sitting in. How are you, my brother?
Good, good. Thanks for having me again. I was just sitting there, that stuff about believing everything about that you read here on the radio.
Yeah.
I'm doing the Brooklyn Bridge ad right now. So just give me a couple more minutes, and then I'll be able to talk.
Right, exactly. Yeah, say how much it's going to cost and where you can take delivery of it. It'll probably be fine.
Yeah, I got a couple of moving dollars, no big deal.
It's the truth. So how was the week? I mean, this is phase 2 of the
Yes,
Chris and Joe show.
I'm starting to feel like they keep pulling me back.
But
the week was good. The week was good. It wasn't that crazy at the various locations that I visit, and not too many headbangers, so I'm not doing too bad this week.
So you had a calm week. That's good. That's
right.
Good.
The bottle of aspirin's only half gone.
So what's the excuse that Ray's not in today?
Well, there's no excuse. He's out there in the sunshine having a real good time, showing off his car.
Yeah.
Down in my part of the universe, in good old Malba, Queens.
Right.
And we're gonna just do what we got to do, and then after that, we're shooting down there, right? We are going, right?
Yes, we are.
Oh, good.
Definitely. We are definitely going to be there. Billy Velvet Giacchio and the rest of the team down there, they're doing a great job. The Malba Show is going on right now. It's a very unique situation. If you want to hear the details, go to the Motormouth Radio website. You can go to the download page because that's the last show, the Thursday show. Billy was on with us talking about the Malba Show and how unique it is. It's such a unique car show, and it's done in a neighborhood, which is kind of cool because if you're on your way to find it, it's almost like you're going through someone's neighborhood. It's like you're going through places that you've never seen before.
That's why it's a neighborhood car show?
Yeah. You're looking for the parking lot. It's not there. There's no parking lot. It's on a street.
No Dunkin' Donuts for at least 500 or 600 feet.
No, and it's a place where you guaranteed there's a good chance you're going to get lost. But once you find it, it's on one of the most beautiful streets in Queens. It really is. You got a view of the bridge. The bridge. It's of the Whitestone Bridge. It's really, really nice. And the people that are there are first-rate, top-notch, and they're all like dyed in the wool.
Real car guys.
Real car guys. They blow me away every time we sit and talk with them. So go ahead down there if you got nothing to do, and go see the coronation of Ray Guarino.
Yeah, he's being made an unofficial Queens resident.
Oh boy.
And we'll see how he handles that. I mean, he does have some Queens experience, but
he does.
We're now going to North Queens, so
is there a difference?
Yes, there is. I don't know about you guys, but different neighborhoods
Brooklynites like us.
Well, right. Well, any part of New York, but Brooklyn, Queens, like a few miles can make a big difference. I mean,
heck yeah.
It's kind of like Americans. A New Yorker and a Texan are still both Americans, but you can really tell them apart at 20 paces, and this is the same thing here. So basically, we're going to see how he handles this. I think he'll have no problem fitting in with that bunch.
He'll blend, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, Ray sticks out no matter what.
Let's go to the phones, and let's go to the fun. Let's say hi, you're on with the Motormouths.
Hi, it's Ed Mangano calling in for the Motormouth Radio Show.
Ed Mangano! I didn't even introduce you yet.
How you doing? It was...
Doing well. How are you?
Okay.
Ed Mangano, the Nassau County Executive, on the air with us here at Motormouth Radio, and you're here to discuss something that's going to happen next week that we are really looking forward to it. You want to take it from there?
Sure. We have Nassau County's 6th annual Cruise to the Show, Parade and Car Show, which will be held on Saturday, September 26th, and Sunday, September 27th in Eisenhower Park.
Mm-hmm.
On Saturday, we have an exciting exclusive Mopar Jeep show, which will take place from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. in Eisenhower Park at Field 6 and 6A. And following that Jeep show, the Mopar show, we'll have a live concert, a free concert, at the Harry Chapin Lakeside Theater featuring John Muller's Winter Dance Party, which is a tribute to Buddy Holly, the Big Bopper, and Richie Valens, and that's from 4 to 6 p.m.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
What a great day.
And now, what's going to happen before? There's going to be something very unique, right?
Yes. Then on Sunday, we have the 7-mile parade, which begins at 9 a.m. at Briarcliff College. But if you're participating in the parade, if you're putting your car in the parade, you can sign up online at cruisetotheshow.com, or you can show up, but you should show up well before 9 a.m. And that 7-mile cruise will take place from Briarcliff College in Bethpage down Stewart Avenue, along Hempstead Turnpike, and into Eisenhower Park.
Wow, that is fantastic. So what happens with the show, Ed, as far as, is it getting bigger every year? Is it getting better every year?
Getting bigger and better every year. We'll be featuring over 2,000 automobiles, trucks, military vehicles, emergency service vehicles, live music, food, entertainment, some swap meet stuff. It's really a great show. Last year, people traveled from 8 states, stayed in hotels and visited and participated as well. We already have, just from the website there, over 100 rooms booked for visitors to this wonderful parade and car show. We will give car enthusiasts an opportunity to show the public the time and effort that they have gone into really preserving history, the history of the automobile.
How does Nassau County fare? Is the economy boosted really from the show?
Absolutely, the economy is boosted. Obviously, people come out, they spend money, they stay in hotels. We bring people from other states, and they spend money here. So it is, it's a great economic boost, and importantly, it's some great quality of life entertainment. And as you know, because you're a great radio show and the time that you spend talking about preserving classic cars, it is really a time capsule, a time in history. There's cars from all years, and people really do go through amazing time and effort to restore and preserve these wonderful historic automobiles.
It's amazing. The amount of time that it takes to put this show together must be astronomical. How does that happen?
We have so many volunteers that really work on this show, and we just really can't thank them all enough. And they've attracted really some fun stuff. If you're a TV fan, we'll bring you back maybe to the days of your childhood with special guests like Butch Patrick, who played Eddie Munster. And Pat Priest, Marilyn Munster, will be at the show. And also, Claudia Wells, who played Jennifer Parker, Marty McFly's girlfriend from the movie Back to the Future, will also appear at the AutoZeum's booth. And that AutoZeum is a great asset that we have here in the county. It is a place where they create the movie cars, and they'll be bringing, many movie cars down where you can see them. It's just a wonderful thing. Herbie the Love Bug will be there, Knight Rider, the Dragula from Munsters, and of course the all-time favorite, the original 1966 Batmobile.
Yes.
That's all brought to us by the Auto Museum. These cars were created by the famous, world-famous Hollywood car designer George Barris. George has been at the show every year. I don't know that his health will allow him to come this year, but certainly his cars will be there, and the people at the Auto Museum that keep up these cars and still produce cars for current movies, and at the same time are passing these talents, the talent to create a movie car, on to the next generation through a BOCES program held right at the Auto Museum.
And it's a fabulous program, too. I was talking to Andy Perillo and Mike Manning of the AutoZeum, and they say it's just so popular. And Andy Perillo, who is the key to the secret, he's the guy with the secrets all entombed in that head of his. He's willing to let it go and give it to the next generation. And
it's amazing, and that's why we wanted to provide that format here in the county at the Auto Museum, so that his talent is not lost, but is passed on to the next generation of movie car builders. It really is quite a talent to create these cars that appear in the movies. And as you know, here in Nassau County, I've been growing the movie industry. Mm-hmm. It has taken off. We have 2 now movie companies in Bethpage. We have Gold Coast Studios as well as Grumman Studios. They have well over a dozen now sound stages. They have exact replica of Times Square, and they're filming major motion pictures, TV commercials, and the like. And it's just creating jobs. It's putting to use old defense industry buildings that were abandoned, and now they're being reused and becoming an economic generator here. And it is really a growing industry here in Nassau County, the movie industry, and certainly that goes hand in hand with building these wonderful movie cars.
Very, very true. Now, speaking of cars, you have one classic vehicle of your own, don't you?
Yeah, I have a 1969 Vet that I've had for some time. I call it Hope, because I call her Hope because I hope she starts when I put the key in it.
Oh, boy.
I'm just a driver. I enjoy it, and hope to have it running for the parade.
very, very cool. Hey, are there going to be any more special guest politicians going to be with you this year?
I don't know. We'll get a list. Everybody's invited, so I'm sure there'll be some. We have. I don't have the commitments on me, but when it gets a little bit closer, usually get those type of commitments.
Well, that's fantastic. And I know you're busy, and I thank you so much for spending a little time with us here on Motormouth Radio. But I do have to ask you, have you used any of the governor's detailing tips?
Yeah, we went over engine detailing at the last cruise to the show that he attended. He had some good tips. He did? Good tips. As you know, he has a Corvette as well.
Right.
It is a great place to go to talk to people that restore cars. From the major restorers that have businesses to the Auto Museum crew that's happy to pass along tips to, the myriad of garage mechanics, home mechanics, and auto restorers that work on their cars, throughout the year. It's just a great day. I hope everybody comes on out. CruiseToTheShow.com, get the information, and, of course, try to thank all of our sponsors, Surround Cadillac, Westbury Jeep, Levittown Ford, Nassau Fire Apparatus, Moving On Sounds, Automat, Auto Customizing, Grand Prix Subaru, King O'Rourke Buick, King O'Rourke GMC, Pursuit Auto Works, Gliptone will be there, Man Products, Mobile Fleet, Hurricane Wings, Pole Position Raceway, and other media will be there really to capture on film these wonderful vehicles.
It sounds like a great place to network as well as a fine show, great entertainment, a wonderful cruise parade. It really does sound like a ball. And we love it every year we go because Ray and I and Joe as well are always there every year to support the cause, and it's always a lot of fun.
And we appreciate you being there and all that you do throughout the year with your radio show to remind everybody of the automobile, its rich history here in America, and its preservation efforts here on Long Island.
Well, that's fantastic, Ed. And you know, and what we truly love is that you're quite the celebrity when you get there, and we love walking up to you, shaking hands, and just having a good time, and just seeing how the show plays out every year and how it gets bigger and better. And we're looking forward to it.
My pleasure.
Well, thank you.
I love talking to the auto enthusiasts.
Hey,
have a great day.
Thank you. You too. And hopefully
see you at the show.
Yes, and hopefully we'll get you here. We'll talk more about cars. We'll get you in the studio.
Absolutely. Let's talk about some of those tips.
Yes, exactly.
Take care, my friend.
We'll talk soon. Ed Mangano, thank you so much. Bye-bye. That was Ed Mangano, the Nassau County Executive, giving us the
lowdown.
Yeah.
What a bunch of talent. If you think about it, that's a good point. There's a lot of the automotive talent in Nassau County, or Long Island in general, is going to be right there in one spot. You want to network, you want to find something, you want to see what other people are doing, that's the spot to go.
You know, I heard that because of the Grumman business that was here, a lot of the employees that worked for Grumman were tinkerers. Obviously, they were building planes and rocket ships and all kinds of stuff. So where would they spend their free time? Working on cars.
Out in the garage doing stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So
what hands, what minds, you know?
It's amazing the collection of, like you say, hands and minds that are in this one area and how it transcends is just remarkable. Cruise to the Show. It's happening next week, September 26th and 27th. And a lot of good stuff. It's the Mopar in Eisenhower Park, exclusive Mopar Jeep show happening on Saturday, September 26th. And, of course, Sunday, September 27th, a 7-mile cruise and show featuring 2,000 vehicles, all makes and models. And it's just going to be a fantastic, fantastic event that's happening next week. But right now, we're talking about the event that's happening today. Got Joe D here in for Ray Guarino. I'm Chris Switzer. And, of course, the Motormouth Radio Honor Group of the Hour. If you have a custom grill on your pickup truck, if you do, you are one of those individuals that sees them everywhere and thinks that you're a unique individual, and it proves that you have a spare amount of cash to throw around. But if you got a custom grill in your truck, you're part of the Motormouth Radio Honor Group of the Hour, so keep it where you got it. Got a lot more of this mess coming your way.
We'll be back with answers to your car questions. Give us a call at 516-572-7440. Oh, I should have said the Motormouth thing.
WHPC 90.3, the radio voice of Nassau Community College, is looking for individuals, businesses, charities, or organizations in our local and global community that would like to donate to support our radio station. Whether you listen locally or online, here is how it works. Go to our webpage at ncc.edu/WHPC and click Donate Now. Or if you prefer, you can send a check to WHPC Radio, 1 Education Drive, Garden City, New York, 11530. Make check payable to the NCC Foundation. In the memo of your check, write WHPC Donate Now. Any contributions will help defray our operating costs, and it's tax deductible. This message was brought to you by the radio voice of Nassau Community College, streaming online at ncc.edu/WHPC.
Let the Motormouth help you with all of your car questions at 516-572-7440.
Hey, if you just missed the last 15 minutes, we were on the phone with the Nassau County Executive, Ed Mangano, talking about the cruise to the show. A lot of fun. Ed is really a great interview. We made our jobs very nice and very easy right here on Motormouth Radio.
I don't think he missed anything.
No, he definitely covered it.
Covered the checklist I had over here, so I'm good. Thanks, Ed.
Yeah, worked out very well. But this week, it's going to be very busy for the end of the year here for Car Show people, because this week we're talking about the Malba Show.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, the Malba Show is a lot of fun. It's in Whitestone, Queens. And, of course, next week is the Cruise to the Show, Ed Mangano, sponsored by the Nassau County Executive, Ed Mangano, and Serene Cadillac and a whole bunch of other people. But that's happening on September 26th and 27th in Eisenhower Park in East Meadow. So, yeah, I can go home now.
Right, yeah, we did it. We did it. Everybody covered?
Yeah,
all right.
I think
I'll go start the cars.
Start the car. We'll go get a sandwich.
Yeah.
We'll open the phones. 516-572-7440 is the phone number. Why are we opening the phones? Because we have the man that makes this show 521% better right here in the studio with us, of course, Joe D. A wealth of honest-to-goodness information for you to discuss.
And some not so honest. It's up to you to figure it out.
It's true. But like I was saying to Joe before the show, we were talking about it, and I think really you are one of the last few men standing that can answer a car question that is something that pertains to cars of the last 3 or 4 years. Honestly, concisely, and pretty much you can put it all together in a way that people can understand. And a lot of people, if you listen to a lot of car individuals that talk about stuff like newer cars, I mean, I can talk about older cars, but newer cars, they're kind of vague.
Well, that's vague because basically they're just too darn complex. Friend of mine yesterday, her daughter, pretty much brand new car, sat there and kind of had like a little bit of a mental meltdown, which was kind of just made her a little freaked out a little bit because you figure brand new car, not things. It was kind of disquieting,
right? And
basically, it was solved by just like shutting the key off and restarting it. It was great. It was like a light show for a little while to hear the story being told, and essentially. I said, think about it this way. These cars these days are a big cart of rolling computers. There's
it's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, some of these cars they're like 80 modules. You get in some of these luxury vehicles, there's a module on every door, all kinds of stuff. So it's pretty much a big wagon full of rolling computers.
Right.
And what happens when your desktop or your laptop gets all stupid? What's the first thing you do?
Shut it off.
You shut it down and reboot it.
Sure.
Which is basically what they did, and all of a sudden everything's all right with the world. And I actually did a little reading on this particular model, that if you don't hit the ignition key just right and it doesn't see the start, there's an actual pin on the ignition switch that tells the engine that you're starting.
Oh, come on.
And if it doesn't see that and everything else kind of comes to life, the car gets really confused. It's like, it should shut off the steering. Well, if you're not running, you don't need steering, and stuff like that. And pretty much what we just had to do is reboot it and say, take a breath, let's do it all again. So, the cars are very complex. And there was actually a code for it. I have to go and pull out what they call the failure record and the freeze frame on it, where it tells you what exactly happened at that moment in time. I love freeze frame. I love failure records.
So it literally is almost like a black box for vehicles.
Yes. One of my favorite stories is one time at the shop we had this guy with a caddy. We had done some work, brake work or something like that. No, a valve cover.
Okay.
And it was a early to mid 2000s caddy. Your typical North Star, whatever.
Right.
And the guy says, "Well, my check engine light's on now." And it's
after doing the valve cover job.
Yeah, and it's a Sinzu. Sinzu touched my taillights. Now my radio only plays rap. Since you put air in my tires, now the dome lights stop working.
Oh, now I get it as Sinzu.
Sinzu. It's all in the pronunciation.
Since you
in
did
some
all
parts
this.
of the country, it's the ever since. But around here in New York, it's since you touched my freaking car. So anyway, I walk over there and I'm like, okay, let's see what's going on. So I plug in the scan tool because it's a caddy. Am I going to need the mop again?
Yes.
I'm going to need the mop.
Because you just made the promo right there.
Oh, good. I'm promo worthy. So I walk over to the car. I have the Tech 2, which those of you who know me, that's my girlfriend. That's my GM. That's the official factory GM scan tool for the older cars.
Right.
And I got in there. I start looking around, and it's a couple of lean codes. All right, which is pretty common on a lot of cars, but on that particular car with the plastic intake. And then I says, you know what? Let's see how it happened, because when you do a lean coat on a car, one of the first things I want to know is, does it happen idle or does it happen running down the road? Because lean is either too much air or not enough fuel. So you want to know which direction you head. You head towards a vacuum leak, or you headed towards a fuel pump.
Got it.
So I get in there and I go and I look at mileage since last failure. 19 miles. Okay. It's about right. The guy was gone a day or two.
Right.
Mileage since first failure. 24,800, and I'm like, dude, unless you've got warp drive and dilithium crystals in the trunk, you did not drive 24,872 miles since you left here 3 days ago. Not happening. So I guess this light's been on here a little while. He goes, well, maybe it has. They're all yellow. And I'm like, well, okay, guess what? Because I just kind of turned the thing around and said 24,000 miles. It's not me. It's the computer. I ain't saying this.
So basically what I'm thinking happened here is it's been failing all along. You go and do a repair on it that has nothing to do with the failure.
Right, and the guy thought he was getting the ring.
As luck would have it, the failure popped up after.
Right, the light might have been out for a day or two. There's a variety of reasons. Those caddies have a plastic intake, which depending on the ambient temperature, could shrinkage. And
we all know that
works for cars too.
Yes.
It was kind of cold out, and it just happened to pop back. So all of a sudden, guess what? So and that's what I mean. Cars these days they're a lot smarter than we think they are, and basically because of that, you can't just walk over and smack them with. I always used to keep a Craftsman 9/16.5 combination wrench when I owned more mechanically oriented cars like my good old Camaros and stuff, and you could whack the fuel bowl, the float bowl, your Holley carburetor. You could adjust your shifter linkage. You could do a lot of stuff with just one tool.
Sure.
No, that's because in that car, like the carburetor wasn't talking to the tail lights. So you have to look at things a little different. It's a network.
I believe it.
Yep.
I have a very good friend of mine just bought a Ford Explorer. And he said he got in the car, hit the key, started up, backed out of the driveway, started down the road, and found that the truck was not coming out of first gear. It was just riding in first.
Yep.
And he's like, what in the world? What's going on? It wasn't shifting at all, just staying in first gear, in drive. So he panicked, pulled over, shut it off, started it again. Everything was fine. Everything has been fine ever since.
Right, just had
it
had a moment.
It frightens the crap out of me.
Yeah, because if the car sees something it doesn't like, and especially certain systems to protect itself, the car is going to go into some type of backup or failure behavior, and it'll do something like lock you into first gear. A, to prevent you from doing something else. B, to get your attention, and it did get his attention.
Oh, did it ever? Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally got his attention.
Japanese cars or a lot of Asian cars. If you get a code that sets a check engine light, it turns on every freaking light in the dashboard, the ABS light, the stability control, the ashtray light, everything comes on. And people come in, my dashboard's lit up like a Christmas tree. I'm like, okay, easy. And then you find that there's one code in the car for like something stupid, like a loose gas cap or something idiotic like that. And then what happens is if you start talking to the other module, and well, the engine computer had a problem, so I'm not going to do anything either until you fix it. Those guys, they're both engineers and they're marketing experts.
That is, you see, and this is what I love, is the fact that you have this way of, I take this in the way that I'm saying it in the utmost respect. You have a way of dumbing it down. Where I can
Joe knows dumb.
Where I can understand it.
I, sir, speak fluent moron.
That's why we talk very well together. Because sometimes I understand moron really well.
You get used to it after a while. And besides that, sometimes the cars are the morons. They're the ones that are doing silly stuff.
Right.
They just, if they don't get what they want, their voltage goes a little off. Guy had a problem with he had a bad battery in a Dodge Charger, and the thing just completely flipped out. Nobody's talked to nobody. Actually happened to this one poor friend of mine, this shop. He had two cars, a Nissan, and he had a Charger, and we're like, lights are twinkling, gauges are like dancing. It's kind of like looking at the radio station gauges, and all because of like somebody jump started the car.
You're kidding? I mean, like what went wrong after the jump start?
Well, voltage spikes. And basically what I told him at that point, because one of them I was there for, one of them, the Nissan, I had to go through the car and talk to all the modules and say, it's okay. You had a little spike, but now, okay, I understand that the engine computer didn't, sent out this scream, but okay, everybody's fine now. Sat there with the scan tool, recorded all the codes, saw what was happening, cleared everything, snapped right out of it. Gauges started working. Customer was happy, all that good stuff. The Chrysler, we had to disconnect the battery. Actually, we had to put another battery in. By the way, Chrysler owners, and particularly Jeeps, but just about any Chrysler owner, if you got a funky battery, your car will get stupid.
Really?
I had one where the power mirrors wouldn't work on a Jeep because of the battery.
Just because of a battery that's low on...
Yeah,
an older
voltage
battery?
fluctuation, stuff like that. They start doing idiotic stuff. Mine, when it had a funky battery, would throw an ABS light. Wow. For no good reason. I sat there, I one stinking sensor, kept checking the sensor, it was fine. But if in my rolling toolbox, I leave the doors open with the lights on sometimes as I'm running for tools, and the battery got a little low, and it was nearing the end of its life. And after I get out of the car and I got in, closed up, started up, when the battery was low for the first few minutes, it would pop an ABS light.
Wow.
So I'd pull over, shut it off, and say, okay, think about this a minute. It'd start back up after a couple of minutes, and bang, zoom, it was fine. So voltage fluctuations, especially batteries on Chryslers, you will get some crazy stuff. By the way, we just held the battery cables together on the Chrysler, on the Dodge for a couple minutes. Put a new battery in. I twisted his arm. The guy doesn't want to spend the money. Well, guess what? He doesn't want to see Laserium. Well, guess what? For those of you who are not old enough, that was a light show involving lasers back in like the 70s and 80s.
I was going to ask you to clarify, but you were rolling.
Yeah, well, you see, you taught me good. Call us fine. Call us fine after that. Everybody just like unfreaked, and that was the end of that.
That's really good to know, because I'll tell you the truth, I don't know how old the battery is in my Charger.
Yeah, well, I'm waiting for the phone call right here. All right, speed dial.
Joe D is with us. Call him. He is accessible. 516-572.
That's the nicest thing you've ever called me.
7440. Other than the car whisperer. The man walks up the cars, his healing hands, puts them over the hood. Next thing you know, stuff starts happening.
Yeah, he only comes over with a rag. Get that slime off my hood. That's not happening in Malba today, that's for sure. You get yourself hard.
Yeah, it's true. No healing hands over anyone's hood. That's not at the Malba Show. Where Ray Guarino is right now, who was getting coroneted. Dodge coroneted.
He's buying a Dodge? Uh-oh.
He's hopefully giving interviews up on the podium from where they perched him.
Yeah.
Billy Belvicaccio has got him.
They're carrying him in that chair there, and
Yeah, I heard. He's got the big hat. You can watch us on vaughnlive.tv/motormouthradio. You can call us 516-572-7440. You can also hear us on Performance Motorsports Network. I had to think of this. And iHeartRadio, as long with us streaming on motormouthradio.com. A whole host of ways to pick this funky show up. So keep it where you got it. Got a lot more of this mess. I'm afraid it's coming your way.
Whether you're a hot rod or a Camaro chick, the Motormouths will always do the trick. Motormouth Radio, baby.
Break out the mood rings and slip on the platform shoes. It's the Super 70s. The decade that brought us Elton John, Donnie Marie, and Fonzie are back on WHPC. Join me, Ron Stevens, as we count down the top 20 hits of a featured week and hear lots of bonus hits from that memorable decade. So listen to the Super 70s on 90.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College.
The Super 70s, Tuesday at 12 a.m. and Saturday at 7 a.m. on 90.3 WHPC.
Have a question about your car or someone else's car? Then give the Motormouths a call, 516-572-7440.
That's the phone number. Get a hold of us, 516-572-7440 on this beautiful day. We're going to go to the phones. We're going to go to the phone. We're going to say, hi, you're on with the Motormouths. Now they hang up.
Yeah, sure.
Timing is everything in this business.
Call back.
516-572-7440. Like I was telling you off air, Joe, usually with the batteries.
Oh, they listened.
The battery in my Jeep, I just change it every 4.5 years.
That's actually a good thing to do. These batteries don't last.
And then I give it to Rick. Let's go back to the phones, back to the fun. How you on with the Motormouths?
Yeah, Chris, how you doing? It's Chris, this is John from Hicksville.
Hey, John.
Hi, John.
How are you?
Good. I've spoken to you guys.
Yeah.
Frequently to hear it.
You're a regular, whether you like it or not. You're a regular.
No, you guys are great and stuff like that.
Thank you.
I just have a question about Joe, for Joe, I should say.
Okay.
Is that, you're talking about the new cars with batteries and voltage spikes and everything else, too. And I mean, I have two newer cars, something like an 09 and 2015, and it always comes out to where, like with the old cars, we used to jump them and everything else too, and now with these new ones, I mean, what if the battery does go dead? I mean, what do you guys recommend as far as, getting it back home or getting a jump or something like that? Because
it depends.
They're Volkswagens, by the way, so.
Say again.
They're Volkswagens, both of them. So.
Oh boy! Did you hear last week's show?
Did you hear last week's show?
Something, yeah. I know you said about Volkswagen and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, okay.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, if anything in the last 15 years, anytime I walk over to a car with jumper cables, I do a road call or something like that. Yeah. I always cross my fingers a little bit because somebody actually measured the voltage spike. From like disconnecting a battery cable or a jumper cable, it was like 125 volts for a split microsecond. 125 volts. I mean, the car companies know about that. They do protect against that like that, and that's why if you do that on a car with 80s, it's a little scarier than on a newer vehicle. But if you're stuck in the parking lot, it's snowing, and you got to get home because of, the ice cream's melting or something like that.
You're gonna take that shot.
Yeah, you take the shot. Just be careful. By the way, you always connect the negative cable last, and you disconnect the negative cable first.
Right. I always do that.
Yeah, that's a given. But a lot of people are like, why? It's the positive. That's all the juice comes out of.
Yeah. No.
But basically speaking, if something like that happens. If you have to jump it, just do it carefully. As far as what happens next is that if you know that maybe the battery went dead because somebody left the lights on or something like that, I would drive it home in the daytime with the AC and everything off, because a lot of people now, alternators are not meant to recharge the battery. The alternators are meant to top off the battery. Okay, they're not meant to refill a dead battery. That's just going to kick the living crap out of them. So you want, if the battery is not suspect, you had a brain fart and you left the lights on or something like that, you properly charge the thing up, and you ought to be good to go. If the battery is suspect, and at that point you want to charge it and test it, you know what I mean? But unless if you could jump start a car, just be careful.
Yeah. Well, we know what happens is that I was looking in the owner's manual, and it was ironic. It says that, in the Rabbit that I have, it says that you basically turn on your air conditioner and your blower motor, your radio, make sure everything is on, and then they say then attempt to do the jump start. I guess just so that maybe the voltage spike doesn't go.
They're trying to absorb it. Yeah, no, they actually said that. I don't recall ever seeing that, because I was taught the opposite. You don't turn nothing on.
Yeah, leave it all off. Right. That's why I'm suspicious of something like that too. Then another thing too is that, say for instance, I do certain maintenance on the cars. I do the oil change and stuff like that too. Not detailed stuff, but I've changed batteries and everything else too. So, say for instance, if you come across your car that you need a new battery and stuff like that, and that you have to disconnect it, and I know then, the computer has to relearn itself or something like that. And then I hear stories about if you connect like a 12-volt battery, like those little 9-volt batteries,
Yeah, I've done that. I actually have, there's a couple ways around it. Like some of the larger tool companies, like Snap-on, in the shop, we have this little carry-around battery. It's a little baby, it's like a gel cell. And we plug it into the OBD connector, which always carries power. And you keep the electrical system lit. I mean, some guys used to do that with a 9-volt battery through a cigarette lighter too back in the day. I mean, my personal setup is I have an OBD connector that I have wired to my booster pack, and I use that, which is essentially the same thing. The more complex the car is, the more you don't want to do a battery disconnect if you don't have to. I mean, there are times when you just want to wipe everything out, like we were just talking about with that Chrysler a while ago, but that was kind of an extreme case, because let's start with the radio stations, and then you start with all the other stuff that has to learn. Like, for example, battery went dead on a buddy of mine's Mustang, 08, 09 Mustang. He goes, like, the windows don't close. Right. Yeah, Toyotas, Lexuses too. quite a few cars, and you have to relearn the power windows after you disconnect the battery.
Wow.
Right.
So, and sometimes in the shop, when you tell somebody that you have to do all these relearns and resets before you can give them their car back, they're like, "Wow, you just put a battery in it." I'm like, "Yeah, okay." So when the window doesn't shut and that rain cloud I see coming, you're really gonna hate me if you don't let me do this.
Right.
So basically, you don't want to let the battery go dead if you can help it. Right. You know what I mean? And if you do it, if you have access to one of them.
Hey, John, what would stop you from going over to any auto parts store and picking up one of those handheld jumper boxes? They're a couple of bucks. And
I wasn't too sure on it or something like that too. I mean, you see all sorts of prices like over $100 for this and that, and I never went that route, But,
let me tell you,
they're great.
They're a godsend. They really are. I highly recommend them.
Okay,
I highly recommend them. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to definitely keep that in mind, something like that too, especially with the 2 new cars here and stuff like that.
Yeah.
With all this computer stuff.
Because you definitely have a better shot of with Joe as my guide, you have a better shot of not seeing a spike.
Right.
With the handheld power supply than you would if you used another car.
My booster pack actually has a switch. I actually connect the wires and then I hit the switch and turn it on. I light it up that way, so that way there is no spark.
Yeah.
Hopefully, as long as I hooked up. The red goes to the one with the cross, right? Yeah.
Right. But
I actually have that tattooed on my arm. Everybody thinks I'm a volunteer of something. I give blood, but no, that's just cheat notes.
Right.
Well, there you go, John.
Okay. All right. Thanks, guys.
Hey,
I appreciate it. And I'll be speaking to you again. Hopefully, that would a problem with the battery, something like that. But that handheld thing, I'm gonna. I mean, is it? It's just a thing that you have plugged into your those things. You just keep plugged in your household thing, and then it's
it's basically a gel cell.
Yeah.
Okay.
You just plug it in and keep it plugged in for a certain amount of time, and you when
it's not the battery pack; it's the small ones. You said, right?
Well, the booster packs, they call them battery packs, booster packs, whatever.
Yeah.
The price difference is the battery rating and like the quality of like the cables and stuff like that, other features, lights, that kind of thing.
Okay, so basically it's the booster pack then.
Just wait for it to come on sale.
So I'll look out for it. So like I said, it's these days here, you got to be careful and stuff like that.
Definitely.
Okay, thanks again, guys.
All right, my brother. We'll talk soon.
All right, have a good one then.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
You too.
Take care.
516-572-7440.
Yeah, you got to be careful with everything these days.
No, it's true, and I'm with you. I won't jump another car with my car unless there's a series of questions. It's like you had said.
Like the zombies? Are the zombies coming? Okay, if the zombies ain't coming, we'll just wait for the booster pack. Yeah.
Right. But did you leave the lights on?
Right.
You mean there's a problem with it? You ask those questions because a lot of the answers determine whether you want to step forward and use your car.
Yeah, and the guy's like, I don't want to date you, I just need a boost. But dude, it's the same thing.
You'll be surprised that some of the guys I have working with me when the car dies in the parking lot, and you see the three stooges of automotive car jumping happen. They're touching the ends together. Pow, pow, pow. Yeah, this one's got a good charge.
I just counted 762 billion electrons.
I just back away slowly. All right, that's it. 516-572-7440. We're going to go back to the phones. We're going to go back to the fun. We're going to say hi. You're on with the Motor Mouths.
Oh, that's so much fun when Joe's around. I love it.
Hey.
He's showing off his car, and Crazy Chris is in the studio.
You betcha, my brother.
See,
what's up, Bob? How are you?
Hey, guys. Bob from Rockwell Center.
What's going on, Bob?
I'm doing good. So it's funny. Last week on Motor Week on TV and your program tonight, this afternoon, I had been looking at the portable power packs. I had the Sears 1150. Mine doesn't know me anything. It's past its life right now. And then I was looking at the smaller handheld palm-size ones, and I was going to
the ones that are about the size of a hard drive, like, right?
They have cables on it. It can also charge your cells, but it has enough amperage to jump the car. And I was wondering what your take was on that, Joe.
Well, yeah, actually, I've been looking into them. First of all, with the big booster packs, if you're in a position for some reason that you may have to boost more than one car at a time, or maybe use the booster pack as an auxiliary battery for some reason,
right,
the big guys are what you want, because most of those guys with the small that hard drive size pack, or a big cell phone size pack, they tell you as soon as the car starts to take it off.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, and what that has to do is with the compatibility of the type of battery that's in there. Basically, the big booster packs there, which, by the way, if you're an adventurous type, I actually ripped one of my Sears apart. I have two Sears that I use for different reasons, like I got a little one and a big one. Mm-hmm. Those are actually those batteries that they power like alarm systems with, and by alarm systems I mean like the home alarm systems. Some of them are sitting on the shelf at Home Depot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they are available, and depending on what you get the pack for, you could.
You know what? I think I'm going to stick with I'm going to stick with what I have, because when I go someplace, either north or south, I like having that extra power for the kids' devices and stuff.
Right. That's what mine double is that too, because sometimes if I have to power one of my scan tools or something, and the guy's cigarette lighter is broken, or whatever reason I can't get power from the vehicle I'm working on, I'll just kind of set that up next to the vehicle with me with my own power supply, my own power cables.
I'll tell you, Bob, Ray has got one of those things. It comes in it looks like in a small eyeglass case, or a little bit bigger than that, and it literally powers everything. It even has these two little jumper cables that you fit onto your battery.
They're amazing, yeah.
Yeah, he loves it. He totally loves it.
Yeah, that's what I had learned on the automotive program the other night, and listening to you guys. He had suggested that the weight savings is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he had suggested that you can get as much utility out of it. I'm so old-fashioned, so I'll just probably wait for the Sears Platinum to go on sale. Carry around a 40-pound battery in the car that I can get away with 4 pounds.
I got a couple of them myself, Rob. I happen to like them a lot because there are, like I said, the little guy is like good for like one shot or two shots, and that's it. You really can't charge it back up through the alternator of the car the way you would with the other ones, which even then I would only do as kind of a last resort type of thing.
Right.
The big guys are more conventional. The little guys, I guess if I had to keep one in my glove compartment just for that time, of my civilian vehicle, I would, definitely. You know what I mean?
I think it's worth the money.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Joe D.
No sweat.
Thanks, Bob. We'll talk soon.
Bye, guys.
Take care.
Bye-bye. 516-572-7440 is the phone number. I'm Chris Switzer, of course, sitting in for Ray Guarino. Joe D., our man in the clouds. Obi Don Canoli, the man who makes the show 521% better. All the time. He does it. You could also check us out on iHeartRadio. You can check us out on Performance Motorsports Network and the Motormouth Radio Honor Group of the Hour. If you put that custom grill in the front of your pickup truck, what is it, a Ford with the flames? Is it the Dodge Ram with all those crazy sort of grill bars on it, or the Chevy, the one that's just got the
tubular.
The tubular, right? Well, consider yourself unique. And pat yourself on the back because you're part of the Motormouth Radio Honor Group of the Hour. Keep it where you got it. There's a lot more of this mess. It's heading straight for you.
Excuse me.
Motormouth Radio.
For nearly 25 years, attorney Kenneth Landau in Mineola and his expert guests have been educating our listeners about their legal rights. After an accident, when buying and selling real estate, concerning wills and estates, the criminal justice system, employment, business law, and much, much more. You too can learn about the law and your legal rights on Law You Should Know. Every Monday at 4 p.m., Tuesday at 1 p.m., or Sunday at 7 a.m., right here on 90.3 FM WHPC, the radio voice of Nassau Community College. Streaming at ncc.edu/WHPC.
Is wrong with my car? You have a short in your horn.
Motormouth Radio, 90.3 FM, WHPC. Just like that.
Welcome back to Motormouth Radio. No music. I don't know where the music went, but hey, it doesn't matter. It's nice and quiet here.
Okay, is that good?
There's the music for you. 516-572-7440 is the phone number. Ray Guarino is over at the Malba Show in Whitestone, Queens, Malba, Queens. Malba's like a section of what? It's got to be like 3 blocks.
Part of Whitestone, yeah. I'm not sure the exact square mileage, but it's only a few blocks. It kind of hugs the river there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it kind of starts at the bridge and works its way down to the College Point a little bit. You know.
Well, Bill Giacchio and the crowd down there giving
Billy Velvet.
Billy Velvet throwing a great show, and also the cruise to the show. I'm holding this up on vaughanlive.tv/motormouthradio just in case you want to see it. The cruise to the show that Ed Mangano is putting on. It's happening next week, September 26th.
2 kick-butt shows in 2 weeks, back to back.
Exactly. So, and this fine, upstanding radio program to waste your time with.
Well, we get to tell you about it.
What
in between.
What better way of spending a weekend? 516-572-7440. Talking batteries here with Joe D.
Batteries are important. You know, they're the beginning of the electrical system.
Mm-hmm.
They have to be up to snuff. They don't live as long as they used to. I mean, I remember having like certain like Delco batteries that, you know, back in the day that they would say they were 6-year batteries. They were in there for 10 years, stuff like that.
How long does a battery last now?
Okay, these days, I would pretty much, depending on circumstances, at 5 years, I would say,
yeah,
as the max. And if I got like a 3-year battery,
right.
3 years. Remember the Happy Days episode where it's got 19 good starts left in it? Yeah, pretty much they do that. I've seen them fail like right either way of their warranty period there.
Now, in the old days,
yeah,
when we were young,
I know it wasn't a big deal. You would just go out there and crank it, right?
Well, yeah,
with the crank,
right? You would hear it. You'd hit the key and it would go and that was the clue.
Yes.
They don't do that anymore, do they?
Well, that's because the starter was the size of Con Edison and was a little bit more forgiving. Now, a lot of times, you know, you've got a computer controlling a relay controlling a very different type of starter, which is like, what? You're giving me how many? No, I'm sorry. Just try again. But
everybody is so surprised when they hit the key and get nothing, and they say, well, it started just fine yesterday.
Right. Or, you know, hot weather takes its toll on batteries as much as cold weather.
You know what? I tend to not believe that. And here's the reason why. Because I know that I have my one car that does a lot of sitting, that in the cold weather, it will take forever to start this thing up. But in the warm weather, same battery, same scenario, the car's not moving a lot, hit the key, boom, fires right up.
Well, it depends on how much is the battery turning over the engine with the bearings are dry and all that kind of stuff, where the actual horsepower to turn the engine over versus the production of electricity.
Mm-hmm.
And we get quite a few batteries in the hot weather when it's like that screaming hot 97, 98 degrees. The plates just kind of move away from each other. There's a whole bunch of technical crap, but essentially it does happen. Sometimes, you know, the older batteries used to see them get pregnant. They used to kind of swell up a little bit. Yeah,
I remember
that was the death knell.
I remember
pretty much batteries these days, you can't check them with the toaster. Remember the toaster you used to buy in the auto parts store? It was that big silver thing. Looked like a...
No, tell me about it.
Remember that? Like it was about the size of that phone that people used to carry in the 80s, like that Miami Vice phone. It was like a walkie-talkie from World War II.
Yeah.
All right, it had the 2 little cables and had the good, the not so good, and you better change this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the toaster with the flippy switch. Yeah, and you know there were more high tech, and you know there was the good old Sunvat 40 and the Snap-on AVR, which essentially just loaded it down. Now modern testers use what they call conductance. And, you know, it's about, big. It's about the size of a big fat cell phone. And you hook it up there, and what it does is it actually watches the battery the way it conducts electricity amongst the plates.
Wow.
And it's a pretty good predictor.
Right.
And I find it to be more accurate than the toaster.
And it's predicting the age and condition of the battery, I'm assuming, right?
Right. In other words, and you should do that, I would say, you know, especially if the battery's not like 2 weeks old or whatever, you know. If you're getting your maintenance done, I don't really call them oil changes anymore. You know what I mean? But like if you're bringing your car in, like let's say, maybe from like the end of September or whatever, right before the cold hits.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, you should have that as part of your most people bring their car in once or twice a year for at least for various maintenance things, tire rotation, that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Have them throw the battery checker on it. You know what I mean? Just to make sure you're okay.
No, that's a good idea.
Yeah, because once that goes awry, all kinds of, whether it's the battery causing it or all the collateral crap that happens when you disconnect the battery.
So the battery, when before it was just such a storage device and that was it has become pretty much more integral with the car now, right?
Well, yeah, it still serves as a storage device, but it's more critical. It's like, well, I guess it's like my bank account versus your bank account. Some of us are more critical than others how much you can keep in it. Oh, actually, no.
What bank account?
I was going. Well, that's what I mean. My battery's a little less critical than yours. But no, I mean it's just that when crap happens to batteries, these days the collateral stuff that goes on afterwards, an older car like in like something from like say the 70s, it's like okay, you just disconnect the stupid thing and put another one in and maybe reset the clock. You didn't even you used to have to pull out the buttons of the radio, so you didn't have to reset that.
Right.
Now it's a big mishigas,
This may be a dumb question. It's probably been asked to you a number of times. Is there any way to prolong the life of a battery?
Don't beat the crap out of it. Shut your lights off. Make sure there's no drain on it.
How many people? You ever notice that people that start the car with the lights on?
Yeah.
Isn't that annoying?
Yes, it is. I mean, I personally don't like automatic headlights and stuff like that. But then again, there are some people that drive down the street in the dark, so I'd rather they beat their battery up. It's okay.
Let's go back to the phones. Back to the fun. How you on with the Motor Mouths?
Hey guys, me, Rob. How you doing?
What's up, Rob?
Disconnecting batteries from cars. That could be a real nightmare,
Yes, it can.
Absolutely.
Sure can.
The Mustang I have, an 06 Mustang.
Right.
Well, a couple of years ago, I had some work done, the hood. It's the aluminum hood. They tend to, when you get road, chips or whatever, it tends to start to be a problem. So I had the hood repainted, right? Okay. So, send it to a body shop. They go to paint the hood. Well, of course, their procedure is they disconnect the battery, right? So they call me, the car's ready. I go down, I go to pick it up, driving the thing home, pull up to a stop sign. The thing shut, right?
What did it do? What did it do?
It shuttered and died.
Okay.
Right? When the thing came down to idle.
Right.
Yeah, when it came down to idle. So I went and I, got it started. I drove it off, okay, and next stop sign, it shuttered a bit, it was lumping along idle and it died.
Okay.
So I was like, well, what the hell? So now the body shop's closed. So I get home. I do a little bit of research. I find out that if the battery is disconnected for a period of time, there's a procedure that you have to do when you first reconnect the battery and start the car so that the thing can learn its idle position. Right. And this is in the owner's manual, no less. Right.
Right.
So
that's
you
the
have
technical
to do
term
that.
for collateral crap.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Technical term is collateral crap. Now, what it is, apparently, it's known as adaptive learning. All right.
That's voice terminology. Absolutely.
You have to basically you're setting the throttle position sensor. All right, so that for idle and then for full throttle before you start the car. Then after you start the car, you go and you take it out for a drive and you vary the speed. So the thing learns.
Sure.
What your what the idle position is, what the full throttle position is, and all the things in between. Mm-hmm. And this procedure is about maybe 20 minutes long.
Yep.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Now,
by the way, you got about a minute, so try and cut it down by 19.
Well, I'll try to do it in 3:05. Anyway,
okay.
the bottom line is that like you said, it's just all the associated crap that goes with disconnecting a battery.
Right. Yeah, on a
but
new car,
again, what it comes down to is read the owner's manual and learn.
No, it's true, and I'm glad to hear that it's in the owner's manual as well. That's a great idea. Put it in the owner's manual, for crying out loud.
Yeah. First place I look.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, you have to go.
Yes, Robert. Thank you.
Have a good afternoon.
We'll
good to talk to you. Thank you.
Thanks for the input.
Take
Bye-bye.
care, guys.
Well, that is true. Where are we off to now, Joseph?
Queens.
Yes, we're heading down to your neck of the woods, right?
Yeah, Malba. Actually, it's where I grew up. Not quite in that neighborhood, but a couple blocks away. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Whitestone. Yeah. You're gonna follow me, right?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna follow. I have to follow you because I've lost.
Yeah, I'll have to give you the card to put in the windshield wiper. You're right. Don't sweat.
Here's what I love. When we go to Malba, we end up usually walking through the procession together. You and I end up, for some reason, this is what always happens. And you get a celebrity's warm welcome every time we get there. Now, here's the funny thing. You have about 17,000 different nicknames.
Yeah, I know. That's because I owe all them money, so that way they can't all get together and figure it all out. Then I'm in real trouble.
Hey, it's Joey Scungy. Hey, it's Joey Chevrolet.
Joey Bag Donuts, Joey Camaro. Yes.
Hey, Joey throwing the phone off across the room. Hey, it's Joey Handsome Man. Hey, it's Joey. I'm hysterical.
We got to get you some names, too. Don't worry. You hang out there for a couple hours. We will have you a bunch of names.
I'm sure there will be a bunch of nicknames.
Yeah.
Well, we know him as Joe D, Obi Don Canoli, the man in the clouds. And I thank you so much for doing yeoman service once again here for this fine
problem. Maybe one day
establishment.
I'll make it up to, like, maybe Admiral or something.
For Joe D, I'm Chris Switzer. This is Motormouth Radio. Ray and I will be back on Thursday. And always remember, don't follow us home.
Yeah, because we ain't going there.
See ya.
Yeah, you can follow us. We'll fool you.
That was a good call, too. Anthony. I was like, Jim. Grab the power cord. Go ahead. Okay. Let me know when to let go.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, let go. Oh, are you kidding me? This one too? No disc. What? Can't take this shit. How are you supposed to do a fucking show with one CD fucking player?
Everybody. I'm with you, kiddo.
Oh, wait, maybe.
I'm with you.
No disc.
I'm with you.